your spatula? It's the principle. If women ran the world, there'd be no wars, just a lot of nagging. But as long as men are in charge, we're supposed to be brave. A knock at the door. It was Stanley Roper, looking for his Sunday paper. "Hey, Tripper," Roper said, leaning in. "I heard about what happened at the pub last night. Word gets around." Jack winced. "I know. Mr. Roper, I'm a disgrace." "Disgrace." Roper laughed. "You did the right thing. Fighting is for people with too much teeth and not enough brains. Besides, you could never get into a fight, it would ruin your nails." Jack looked at his hands. "My nails?" "Yeah." Roper winked. "You gotta keep 'em pretty for the flower arranging." After Roper left, Jack's mood shifted from depression to a slow-burning fuse. "That's it. Even Roper thinks I'm a pushover. I'm going back to that pub." "Jack!" "No!" Chrissy cried. "He'll murder you." "I don't care. I'd rather be a dead hero than a living coward." Jack marched down to the pub, with Jeanne and Chrissy trailing behind him like worried chaperones. The big man was there again, sitting at the bar. He saw Jack coming and began to chuckle. "Back for more, Tinkerbell. Did you bring your knitting needles this time?" Jack walked right up to him. His knees were shaking so hard they were practically playing the castanets, but he kept his head up. "Listen, man," Jack said, his voice surprisingly steady. "You behaved like a creep in here last night. You insulted my friends. You spoiled our evening. And I think you owe someone an apology." The man stood up. He towered over Jack. He looked around at the crowd, then back at the skinny kid in the Hawaiian shirt. "Is that so?" the man said, his voice dropping to a dangerous rumble. Jack didn't flinch. "Yes, that's so." The man reached out, and for a second, Jana screamed. But instead of a punch, the man grabbed Jack's hand and shook it. "You got guts, kid," the man said, a genuine grin breaking across his face. "Most guys would have run, but you came back. I like that. I'm sorry about last night. I'd had a few too many." Jack blinked. You're sorry." "Yeah. My name's Moose. Buy you a beer." Jack exhaled a breath he felt like he'd been holding since 1972. "I'd like that. Moose, I'd really like that." As they sat at the bar, Jeanne and Chrissy watched from the doorway, stunned. "He did it," Chrissy whispered. "Jack's a hero." "He's an idiot," Jeanne corrected, but she was smiling. "A brave, stupid, wonderful idiot." Chapter 11, The Case of the Missing Rent. The high of Jack's victory lasted exactly 3 days. It was brought crashing down by the cold, hard reality of paragraph 1. The rent is due. $300, Jana said, looking at the empty envelope on the shelf. "It's gone." "Gone?" Jack asked, coming out of the bathroom with a towel around his neck. "What do you mean, gone?" "Money doesn't just sprout wings and fly to Maui. I left it right here," Jana said, her voice trembling, "in the white envelope marked rent. And now It's just an empty shelf. Chrissy walked in, looking confused. Are we talking about the money? I saw that envelope this morning. Where? Jack and Jana shouted in unison. On the shelf, next to the radio. I took the radio to be repaired, so I moved the envelope to. Wait, Chrissy's face went pale. I put it on top of the trash can so I wouldn't forget to tell you. They all ran to the kitchen. The trash can was empty. The janitor, Jack whispered. He came by at 10 o'clock. We're dead, Jana said, sitting on the floor. Roper will evict us. He's been looking for an excuse since we moved in. Maybe we can tell him the truth, Chrissy suggested. The truth? Jack laughed bitterly. Excuse me, Mr. Roper, we threw our rent in the garbage. He'll love that. He'll give us a trophy on our way out to the sidewalk. We have to raise the money, Jana said, her pragmatic side kicking in. Jack, do you have any savings? I have for dollars and a coupon for a free taco, Jack said. Chrissy, I bought those fluffy slippers, she admitted. Okay, Jana said. Plan B, we fake a burglary. A burglary? Jack asked. Isn't that illegal? It's creative accounting, Jana insisted. If we tell the police we were robbed, Roper will have to give us an extension. It's a matter of public record. They spent the next hour ransacking their own apartment. Jack tipped over a chair. Chrissy scattered some magazines. Make it look real, Jana urged. Jack, break something. Jack looked at his favorite ceramic cookie jar, a gift from his mother. He couldn't do it. Instead, he carefully laid it on its side and put a bit of dust on it. The police are going to see right through this, Jack groaned. A few hours later, a detective arrived. He was a weary-looking man in a rumpled suit who looked like he'd seen too many burglaries in Santa Monica. So, the detective said, looking at the scattered magazines, you say they took $300 in cash. Anything else? A radio. Chrissy said, a black one with a silver dial. But you told me you took that to be repaired, the detective noted, scribbling in his notebook. I did, Chrissy stammered. But then they stole the repair shop. Jack covered his face with his hands. Look, the detective said, closing his notebook. You kids are amateurs. There's no sign of forced entry. Your ransacking looks like a messy Sunday morning. And nobody leaves $300 in an envelope marked rent unless they're in a sitcom. But we are, Chrissy cried. Just pay your rent, the detective said, heading for the door. And next time you want to fake a crime, try harder or get a job. As the door closed, they heard a heavy tread in the hallway. It was Roper. Rent day, kids, he called out, his voice full of predatory glee. They looked at each other in terror. The pub, Jack whispered. Hide in the pub. They scrambled for their coats and burst out the door, nearly knocking Roper over. Hey, where are you going? Roper shouted. We have an emergency, Jack yelled as they sprinted down the stairs. A botanical emergency. Jeanette's ferns are wilting. They spent the evening at the pub, nursing a single beer and staring at the clock. We can't hide forever, Jonna said. Eventually, we have to go home.